Good afternoon. This is Melvin York with Gardening with Daddy Pete. And today I would like to talk to you just a little bit about one subject that we all like if you're a gardener or you're just now getting started and you're really enjoying it, and that's extending your gardening time. Now, if you're lucky enough to live in an area like we live in here in the Piedmont of North Carolina, we can kind of squeeze out about a good 9 months of crops if we're lucky. And so we get to grow most of the year. We actually get to plant a lot of the cold weather crops twice. We can plant them in early spring, plant them in late fall. Then we got our late spring summer crops that we do like peppers, tomatoes, green beans, corn, squash, zucchini, cucumbers, um, and other vegetables. Herbs, some of the herbs too are like that. But how would you like to extend that? Extend your growing season. Now, there's a lot of ways to do that. Some are expensive, some are not so expensive. So I want to talk to you just a little bit about that today. One of the things that people are doing now that's growing commercially, homegrown vegetables or farm-grown vegetables are using what they call a high tower greenhouse or high tower houses. And what they are is they're actually higher than a regular greenhouse. But inside, what they do is they actually put the soil down, get the soil in good shape, leave a walkway between both sides is one way to do it, and grow your crops in there year round. Another way to do that, and again, if you're looking to keep growing something for you and your family on a smaller market, if you'd like to grow something to add a little extra to your income, maybe sell to some of your local restaurants, especially in the wintertime when they can't get real fresh vegetables. The good thing is a small hoop house, high tower house. You can even, makeshift. A lot of houses that I've seen done on smaller sizes, I've seen people on NC State's extension page. There used to be a set of plans, I think they're still there, how you can build a small greenhouse using 1.25 or 1.5 PVC pipe. And simply pull over the plastic, a little wood frame, and you can go from there. Heating the houses, if it gets real cold, may be just a little bit of a challenge. But again, if you're using cold weather crops and you're growing the lettuces, growing radishes, if you're growing, even trying to grow spinach, those leaf lettuces, those radishes, say turnips, a few different things, and there's more that you could grow in there. And actually, as long as you don't get a freeze going on, those crops are still going to do pretty well, just off the sunlight during the day. Now, there's different ways you could use heat lamps or small heater, and there's ways to heat those up just enough to keep those freezing and keep them thriving through those cold winter months. But you would be surprised what you could grow. Another thing that I've seen people do is they will actually build post up, run house gutters through and grow strawberries on there. They actually have strawberries going several seasons out of the years, and the way they've got it done, I've seen one with an A-frame type situation where the gutters started at the bottom, ran so far apart all the way to the top and on both sides. That's a good way too. Strawberries are another one that would be easy to grow. Believe it or not, there are some cucumbers that doesn't need a pollinator. There's different varieties of those. You have to keep it a little bit warmer. But again, you can go with cucumbers. You can go with, again, we'll have to add more heat, but a lot of people in the greenhouse, hoop houses, high tunnels, I'm calling them towers, but they call them high tunnels, actually grow tomatoes year round. So you've got fresh tomatoes year round. But you can do this on a small scale. You can do this on a large scale. If a house can get light, I have seen people take and frame up out of treated lumber and buy old glass panes or storm windows, those all around, and put it high enough to where they use just a regular tin roof on it. And it still got enough light because it was higher than just a regular greenhouse. So the light did get into every side of it, and it worked well. I seen one man do one like that. He actually went to a lot of yard sales, salvage yards, and watched the different yard sale sites, and he picked up some older storm doors and storm windows. And to be honest with you, he made a nice greenhouse that he could use. And with the window sliding, and when it did get too hot, he could raise those up. Being aluminum and glass construction, you didn't have to worry about them rotting or being like it would plastic, like the wind blown. So you had a real good setup there. And it was on a smaller version. But the thing was, he kept a lot of fresh vegetables over the winter for his household. So these are things you can think about that doesn't take a lot of money, but yet you can produce a lot of food. If you've been to the grocery store lately, what it would cost you to build a small greenhouse would actually pay for itself pretty fast at the prices that we're paying for fresh vegetables now. And again, I'm talking about number one, fresh vegetables. A lot of these vegetables in our grocery store are wilted. I went through and was looking for some zucchini the other day. I had already played out, and everything I've seen in two different stores was wilted. It was not anything that I would buy to bring home. So this is the good part. You're going to have something fresh. You know how it's grown. You know it's not had herbicides. You know it's not had insecticides applied to it. And it's just an all-around better way. So gardening nowadays, food has gotten so expensive that actually constructing something like this and utilizing it will actually pay for itself pretty fast. My wife and I were talking today, and we looked at some plans on how people are turning their yards into raised beds and some of the ways that they're doing, make them beautiful yards. But they've got raised beds, they've got a bench in between. Maybe they'll have some stonework here, a little grass there. And I was telling her, I said, I could build those raised beds, and yet it's a little bit expensive to build raised beds, but that's a one-time thing, and fill them. I said, but my lawnmower is $4,000, and I have to keep it up, and then I buy fuel for it. Then I have grass seed, and I got lime, and I got fertilizer, and we're constantly a job to do every week, once a week in the summer, sometimes twice. And, in the wintertime, I sow annual ryegrass on mine, so I'm still mowing. But with something like that, I could keep crops growing. And what would be neat if you had the area to put up a small greenhouse in the middle of those, make it big enough to where maybe you could throw a bench inside. That'd be a great place in the wintertime to go and sit, do a little work, and sowing some veggies, gathering some, and just a nice place to have a cup of coffee. So these are things that I kind of want you to think about that we didn't think this way 20 years ago. But right now, it's beautiful. You can make a greenhouse as stylish as you would like. And again, what you're getting in return is amazing to offset the cost of installation. And upkeep is, nothing, basically. When I look at my lawn, I keep putting money into it. And yes, I enjoy my lawn, but it doesn't make me anything back, nothing to eat. Or if I was doing it on a little bit bigger scale, something to help add to my income. Right now, as I said earlier in this podcast, there are plenty of local restaurants that would love to have a ample supply and a daily or weekly supply of fresh lettuces and green onions and radishes. They would love to have that spinach. But these are all the things you can think about and still supply for your family. You can offer that to your local neighborhood, eatery, and knowing that your friends and your neighbors, if they go there, are getting a product that's fresh, that you know that's not been treated with anything, and you know that it'll be healthy and nutritious for them. So that's just a thought today. I had that on my mind, how we could actually take our quarter acre, our tenth of an acre, whatever it is of yard. Maybe we don't want to do the front yard, we could do the backyard. But these are things that we could put into play that would make a beautiful landscape and also supply some of the needs of fresh foods for our family. I don't know. Give it a thought. See what you think. Look around, because I've seen more and more plans coming. I do appreciate you listening to our podcast. If you go to our website, which is daddypete's.com, you can listen to these podcasts. We do keep all the ones there for you just to click on if you want. They're archived if you want to hear a certain subject. Also, we have a place on there that you could leave us a comment or ask us a question. We do love to hear from all of our listeners. Another thing, too, while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. It's a monthly thing that we send out every month for different gardening tips and ideas. And maybe that will give you, especially if you're a new gardener, give you a tip, maybe answer a question for you just by looking on those. While you're there, when you're building that garden that we're talking about out, we do supply all the soils and mulches that you need to do that with. That's another thing. We've hit on mulching just a little bit. We're going to be getting into that more here in the next few weeks, because fall will be here in just about 22 or 3 days, I think. So these are the things we want to get in our mindset, what we need to do for our fall planning and plantings. What we need to do is get ready for winter coming on. And by doing that, we're also getting ready for some of the things we do for our next year's spring garden. So I hope you've enjoyed today. And again, we certainly would love to hear from you. Go to daddypete's.com and just click on there. It will give you a little tab there to click and ask a question or leave a comment and browse around the page. Well, until next time, this is Gardening with Daddy Pete, and I'm your host, Melvin York.